Do you think it changes the love I have for you?
How would you bring that up to me?
The reason why they're not bringing up is because they're avoiding it themselves.
I knew I had gained. I didn't expect it to be that much.
Yeah, I feel like I do judge you because honestly,
that if I was over a certain weight, it was bad and I was ugly and I was fat. This is why people have sex with the lights off, okay? This is why people, when you're undressing, be like, no, don't look at me, right? This is why this happens because there's a slippery slope of
anything degrading in that moment of vulnerability.
Yeah.
That would shut the person telling you their vulnerable truth down for potentially a lifetime.
So it's all about making the choice in the moment to say, we have full control over how we see a sensitive topic. And here's the thing about it. Here's the thing that I want to encourage anyone listening to this to really remember is that weight gain is perfectly fine. Welcome back to Listen Before Love. We are back again, my baby Lou.
Yes, we are. Super excited.
Ooh, we got a juicy one for y'all today. We want to talk about something that I do not think I have ever seen a podcast about, which is weight. Let's talk about gaining weight in relationships. And what do you do when either you or your partner who you love and adore so much gains a little bit of happy relationship weight? How do you approach it? All right. So let me give you a little bit of an insight as to where this came from. Me, myself, and I. So over the last couple of months, let me just give you some context here, some Elle lore. I worked at Facebook for 7 years. And then because of this darling man sitting next to me, got the courage to leave my demanding job there. And I finally had the space to do whatever I wanted in all moments. Now that included walking around the house in a giant cotton shirt, following him around with my hand in his butt crack, just to be honest with you all. Never thought that one would see the light of day, but something told me I need to say that. I literally follow him around like that for like an hour. And
yeah,
it's our mind. I'm a little nuts. It's our mindfulness activity, okay? I'm really letting people in. I also would go on walks aimlessly. I would spout philosophy to Cam like Rick Rubin. I would basically make noises that insinuated I want a Diet Coke, such as beep.
Yeah.
One of his favorites.
Still happens every day.
Still happens every day. And going to saunas and getting swamp assed, that was my life. And I also created this podcast and also our gratitude.
Yeah, she acted like she did nothing. I mean, she was probably working more than ever before, but just like on the stuff she wanted.
Yes.
And just not in the like Facebook dress code.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So I was doing a lot, but it felt a lot more exciting, a lot more soul nourishing than the work that I was doing in good old corporate America.
We were also going through a period where like I was working through a lot of, I guess, problems or imbalances I had around food. And so other than most of my life being strict routine about certain things, being a certain way, we had a good period of a lot of pizza, a lot of chicken sandwiches, a little bit of everything, all of our favorites. And so that's probably what led to the weight gain, I assume. This is a lot of I'm the one ordering it. I'm the one paying for it. So I'm putting that all on my plate at the moment.
And so, there were some big transitions. I left my job. I wanted to go from doing things that I did not enjoy every day to just doing whatever I wanted. We just bought a house. A lot of things were happening that made me feel like it's time for pizza. It's time for chicken sandwiches.
I love some pizza
It's time for ice cream. Pizza sounds fantastic.
Let's do pizza for this.
Honestly, yeah, because we love ourselves. And here's the thing about it. Here's the thing that I want to encourage anyone listening to this to really remember is that weight gain is perfectly fine. And there is nothing to be ashamed of. There is nothing to judge yourself for. And my fervent belief is that the way you feel about your body and about your weight gain will dictate what happens next. So I choose to live in a reality where, yes, did I gain 15 pounds in the last couple of months? I did. Do I still love myself? Absolutely. Do I still feel sexy? Absolutely. What's that?
Was it more than 15 or 15?
Actually, it was 15.
It was 15?
Yeah, I thought it was 20.
But you told me 20.
And then it was 15. Okay. So I wanted it to be accurate.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So isn't that exciting?
I wanted it to be accurate. That's why I mentioned it.
I know. Well, thank you for calling me out because I was not trying to shortchange it.
It's also weird to be like, no, it was more than that. It was more than that. I know.
So why he knows the number and why we had that little quabble, let me let you into it. So one day, because this is really funny, I brought up my own weight gain to Cam because this is a safe space. My darling is a safe space and he has eyeballs and he sees me every day, right? So like the funny thing about weight gain, that's right. And listen, no matter what weight I am, this man be chasing me around the house.
Ayo, chill.
So, ayo, chill. All right, listen. I love myself. I think I'm sexy as hell at any weight. I carry my weight extremely well. So I'll have you know, I ain't stressing. I ain't losing sleep over 15 pounds. But let me let you in.
But you were feeling.
But
what were we talking about? Listen, act like it's like perfection all the time.
It's called I healed myself. After this moment, It's called I said it and then it let me free. Mm-hmm. Come on, I'm living our principles.
Yeah.
So, okay, let me get you into the story. So one day, me and my darling are going on our daily walk. We usually walk 1 or 2 times a day, just strolling around these beautiful forests outside our home. And right before the walk, I decided to choose chaos and step on the scale for the first time in quite a while, okay? And here I am, faced with the own truth and reality of the fact that I had gained 15 pounds. Wonderful, okay? But in the moment, because I am a recovering perfectionist, almost fully recovered, by the way. Yeah, not to flex on these hoes, but seriously. And because I had a lot of image issues, I've shared before, especially around my weight in high school, even though I was like under 120 pounds, people would constantly make these comments insinuating that I would be like a Victoria's Secret angel if I only lost 15 pounds, if I only, oh man, you did that, now your boobs are smaller, now you got to make your boobs bigger, now I'm going to buy the bombshell bra that makes you look like Dolly Parton, oh, well, you should do your makeup like this. I was constantly like a rag doll being thrown into the desires of everybody looking at me. So I didn't have my own sense of what was beautiful. I did not believe that I was beautiful just as I was. So I was constantly modulating my beauty for what people were telling me. I wanted to become the beauty standard of whoever was looking at me because I thought in my head that I could be attractive to every single person on earth. That's a losing battle. Not even the most beautiful person on earth, objectively beautiful, someone's going to think they ugly and busted. And that's just the truth of it. So if you're going to chase this goal of never-ending physical perfection, you will never hit that goal and you will spend a lot of your life in pain and suffering. So that's just some background. So when I stepped on the scale and I saw I had gained 15 pounds, I was like, ooh. Didn't see that coming. Now, to be honest, because weight gain it's subtle. I hold my weight pretty well. I knew I had gained. I didn't expect it to be that much. So I had a moment where I was like, should I not say it? Should I just keep this to myself? And I decided, you know what? If I keep it to myself, I'm going to become self-conscious about it. Because it's going to be in my own head. And then I'm going to think I'm getting away with something. And oh my gosh, like what if he just doesn't notice? And like, oh my gosh, I'm getting away with this big old secret that I have. And the second my mind went there, I knew I had to tell Cam. Because I knew that in that moment, the longer I waited to say something to him, the longer it would stay in my mind and on my heart. And it would affect how I acted. How does this affect how you act? This is why people have sex with the lights off, okay? This is why people, when you're undressing, be like, no, don't look at me, right? This is why this happens. Because there's a slippery slope of, I've started to gain weight, I'm feeling a little self-conscious, I'm just going to pretend this isn't happening, and then it's going to continue to gain, and then it gets more and more away from you. It's harder and harder to put yourself back onto a track where you feel you're sexiest, you're most healthy, you're most excited to be seen naked running around and like a sexy beast. This is why this rift happens, okay? So in the moment I decided I'm going to do something radical for a former self of mine. I'm going to just say the quiet part out loud to Cam, and we're going to let it into the light and see what he has to say. So we're on our walk, and I bring it up like this because I was a little nervous back then. I'm talking a big game. I'm quite confident right now, but I was nervous about it. So I was 10 minutes after I step on the scale, and I'm like, there's something that happened, but I don't know if I want to tell you. And what'd you say, baby?
Immediately, I was like, did you like crash the car or something? Like, I was thinking so much more extreme. And I'm like, okay, yeah, go ahead and tell me what's up.
And I was like, no, I don't think so, because once I say it, you're just not going to be able to unsee it.
Well, if it's meant to be said, then just say it. Everything can be all right.
Well, I stepped on a scale and turns out I gained 15 pounds. What's that about?
How does it make you feel?
Well, I guess I'm surprised because I didn't expect it to be that much. But I also didn't really notice because my focus wasn't really on my weight. And that's new for me because I used to weigh myself every day. So in one hand, I'm excited because that means I stopped caring so much about my weight and I feel more free. And on the other hand, I'm like, oh no, wait, is this how you wake up one day and you're 600 pounds because you stop caring about it and you just keep gaining weight forever? So I'm feeling confusing emotions about it.
Do you think it changes the love I have for you?
No.
Amazing. Because it doesn't.
Aw.
So it's on your awareness, and it was definitely somewhat difficult for you to say. Does that mean you don't like weighing 15 pounds more? You want to change it?
I guess what's most important to me is being healthy. And I think for a long time I had this belief that if I was over a certain weight, it was bad and I was ugly and I was fat. And I'm heavier than I've ever been, but I feel better and more free and happier than I've ever been. So it's kind of breaking my brain because I love myself more than ever. I love myself more at my current weight than I did when I weighed 114 pounds. So I know when I zoom out, what's most important to me is being healthy. And we walk every day and we eat the same things every day. Now we have been going hard on the chicky sandwiches.
And the ice cream.
And, I just feel like what I'd like to do more is HIIT classes. And before I left Facebook, I would go to Orange Theory, 4 or 5 times a week. And when I quit, I really wanted to give myself a break. I didn't want to feel like I had to keep doing the same do. And I've also started mapping my workouts to my menstrual cycle. And so I want to continue to do that and not go to do HIIT workouts during my period. But I would like to incorporate more physical exercise in addition to our walks in our day, because I think that would make me feel really confident to know that I'm getting strong and that I'm building up my muscle.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense. If we can work out in a very balanced, moderate way that takes into consideration your menstrual cycle and everything else, more than likely, even though how great we feel now, it'll probably make us feel a little bit better. Yeah, it makes complete sense. Is there any way that you would want me to help assist with that? In any way I can make your life easier based off how we're eating or, how often we work out?
Well, I think it would be really helpful if we eat the same things. So if we just cut back on the ice cream.
Yeah.
And maybe went to a HIIT class.
Makes sense.
I went to the sauna regularly and just, cut back on a couple of things. But that doesn't mean we have to cut back on everything.
Yeah.
Because I so enjoy our meals and I enjoy every bite. And like, I really love the inputs that got me to this weight.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no shame towards it.
Yeah, I feel like that's been big for us recently because, especially for me, those same foods that are just so good, and we get, of course, like the highest quality we possible can, so it doesn't really affect, at least micronutrient wise, the level of which it may have before if we were buying like the most crappy foods in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really, I know I've changed the story in my head around how I view pizza, how I view ice cream. It's no longer the devil in my mind, right? It's something that it's just an enjoyable part of life, and that's been huge. I know that's why we've kind of had it a lot more recently than we may have had any other aspect of our life.
Because we were changing our relationship to it.
Exactly. And so I'm like, if we're now at a good point, I guess other than doing 5 nights a week of DoorDash, we're also busy, right? We're also like, we don't really love cooking.
Yeah.
I'm more of the cook of the house than you are, and I don't like cooking.
I'm the cockroach of the house.
You're the cockroach of the house. You're the eater of the house for, yeah. That sounds, I did not mean it to sound like that. The eater of the You're the eater of the house.
Okay, listen, he's not wrong.
I'm the buyer and cooker.
I enjoy every bite. I really do. Yeah. I love food. It tastes so good, and we have such a great time. And I think that what we want to share here is that our mindset towards the weight gain, especially after I had this conversation with Cam where we brought it out into the light, and I was no longer, because this is what happens. If I were to have kept that to myself and not shared it, I would have created shame within myself that would have made me feel more negative, more judgmental, more self-conscious in small ways every single day until it adds up into this giant shame bucket. And you think you're getting away with something, right? Like you think you're like, oh, he doesn't notice, or he hasn't brought it up to me, so it's not happening. It's happening. We have to face the reality of the situation. And we can also, once we, just like having a hard conversation that we've been avoiding, once we have the hard conversation with ourselves on these topics that we've been avoiding, like me looking at the scale and saying, okay, that's there. How do I feel about it? I feel very proud of everything that I did the last couple of months to quit my job and relax and gain this beautiful, happy weight. And now I would like to enter a season where I'm working out more because it makes me feel good. I'm moving my body more. I'm eating a little healthier. I'm fine-tuning the vessel and the machine of my beautiful, healthy body that keeps me able to show up and do this work in a really excited and positive mood and mindset. So it's all about making the choice in the moment to say, we have full control over how we see a sensitive topic, whether it's weight gain, whether it's a habit that really bothers us and our partner, whether it's that conversation we've been avoiding about XYZ. We choose how afraid of it we are. We choose what we want to do next after having the conversation with ourselves and then having it with whoever else is affected by it, and then charting out the next steps to build a new person if we want to. Yeah,
and just to put the finishing touches on how that conversation went, is it as if we kind of role played it again of what happened? So we weren't really planning that, but that's what happened. But at the end, when we realized that we've really enjoyed the past handful of weeks or months of, let's say, indulging in these type of foods, we're like, okay, well, what if we just scale it back a little bit, other than 5, 6, 7 times a week? We do 2 nights a week. We have a movie night Wednesdays, let's do that. And then like Saturday night, that'll be great.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the nights, we'll just eat a little bit healthier. I'll cook a more nutritious meal at home. And then we'll go to Orange Theory a handful of times a week in the morning. We're normally doing saunas already, so just keep that going. And over time, just add a little bit more HIIT training, a little bit less indulgent nights, and we'll be fine. Ice cream twice a week as opposed to 7, 8 times a week, And so thankfully, now that we're kind of putting a bow on how that conversation went, what made it really, I think, a fantastic experience with both of us is, say, my energy around you telling me that. Imagine you saying, I've gained 50 pounds, and I'm like, I noticed, or something like that, which oftentimes happens, or anything degrading in that moment of vulnerability.
Yeah. That
would shut the person telling you their vulnerable truth down for potentially a lifetime.
Yes.
And so on my end, it's to stay loving in all moments and be like, oh yeah, it just kind of happens. Human nature. I mean, you see it happening to literally everyone in our country, but there it's 200 pounds as opposed to 15 pounds. So it's no problem at all. It's like there's so many parts of our life are moving, literally moving, and businesses and projects like this, and like it makes sense. And so why would I ever like hold it against someone for gaining a few extra pounds, especially if I've paid for and cooked all the food myself that made it? Like, there's no reason for me to have any negative emotional charge around you in the subject. And so I'm just really glad with how we went upon that conversation. And we've been able to, from a loving place, shift our lifestyle in a way where we're going to more Orange Theory classes, we're eating a bit healthier while still having our time for, I love Hawaiian food and ice cream, whatever it is. And so like we've really hit a good balance. We'll always do some fine tuning here and there, but in different seasons of life, Christmas coming up, we'll probably have more cookies than other months of the year. And that's all okay. But the way you were able to be radically honest, and truthful, and vulnerable in that moment is what made this all happen. Because most people would not have had the courage to speak up and say that. They would feel incredibly embarrassed and insecure. But sadly, what would probably happen, what happens for most people, is they internalize all these feelings, especially around someone who they deeply admire and trust and want them to think highly of them. But then it comes out in other ways. And so we could be going out for dinner, and I may say like, are you gonna be wearing that out, or are you gonna wear something else? If you're currently wearing something that shows a little bit tighter, like shows the stomach a little bit more, and you see this as like, oh, I'm really showing myself, putting my gut out there, whatever it is, and I make a comment of like, are you sure you want to wear that, whatever it is, you will take it in a tone, not saying you, but in general, will take it in a tone that'll be like, oh, he notices, how dare he, and it'll show more hate and judgment towards me when it's all about you and your way. This happens all the time. Like, what's the meme? It's like, does this make me look fat? That's huge. And oftentimes, if a man were to tell the truth in that moment, he's punished because of the insecurity of the woman in that moment. But you seeing a truth and saying it first has set the field for us to be open and honest about this at all times and come to a very loving solution and conclusion on it, which I think is really, really cool. One thing I do want to bring up, though, is what happens if the person who's noticed weight gain isn't the person to bring it up, but it needs to be brought up.
Yes. So
this is the juicy part.
So this is juicy, right? Because for those of us who've been in relationships, I think there's a very good chance that we've experienced our partner doing something that we know they may be a little insecure about, whether that's gaining weight, whether that's they're on their phone a lot, whether that's they have a really close relationship with their mom that seems to like influence the relationship. Maybe they go out a lot. There's different areas that someone may do that's core to their identity that if you were to bring it up, they'd snap at you or they get very upset. I'd call these sensitive topics, right? How do you, as the party who's concerned about this thing, bring it up? So now let's do a little role play. And in this situation with my weight, I brought up my own weight to Cam. I would venture to say that is probably less than 10% of what usually happens in this situation. I don't think it's common that it's the person who gained the weight who brings it up. So let's talk about the 90%. In a healthy way, my love, how would you bring that up to me?
Well, before you even go into that, the reason why they're not bringing up is because they're avoiding it themselves, because they're insecure about it themselves.
Oh, say more there.
They just want to be like, oh, I'm going to act like I don't see it. Therefore, they're also going to act like they don't see it. And we're just going to live in this world that doesn't exist. It's going to be perfect. No one's ever going to question everything. They just do that. We do that for a lot of different things.
And then
the elephant in the room happens.
Is afraid to say something because they know the other person's afraid to say something, and you're literally ricocheting off each other like an anxiety wall.
It's the elephant in the room, and sometimes it literally looks like an elephant in the room.
Oh my God.
So yeah, that happens often. That's a little intense.
That was a bad one.
That was not geared towards you. You know that, but that was just I had to say that.
Baby Lou.
But okay, so let's bring this up, right? So let's talk about weight gain, Ron. I think going out at night, to parties and clubs, whatever. That's a different one.
Yeah.
We can talk about in a second. But when it comes to like weight gain, what I would do in all these situations, because when you're entering a relationship, it does feel more like a team, especially if you live together. It's like we're in this together, right? And so if I noticed weight gain within you to the point where I wanted to say something, I would make sure that she understands that it's more about me and my need for like you to be perfect, if that's even a thing. It's because it's my own imperfection I don't see or I don't have for myself. It's a lack of perfection I feel within myself. But if I wanted both of us to start healthier lifestyles, which is what you want when someone is overweight, one or the other, I would bring it to her like, hey, baby, I've just noticed like I'm just not feeling great anymore, energy-wise, in my own body. I feel like I've just eaten a lot of pizza and I haven't worked out at all in the past like few months. And I just really want to get on track of it more. Like, I want to feel better again. And so I know that I'm going to start going to Orange Theory pretty consistently, probably like 4 or 5 times a week. That's the problem is I'm like now making it myself. And I'm going to start just cooking healthier foods for myself. And I know I cook for the family. And so I'm not going to just cook the family and then be like, no, you got to still have the other food. I want to extend an invite out to you that, do you want me to cook the same things, the same healthy dishes for you? Is that something you...
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm going to make them good. They're going to be good.
Of course.
They're going to be the good tasting.
I love when you cook for us, baby Lou.
Amazing.
That sounds great. I've actually noticed the same thing too about my energy.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I just feel like, we've been focused on so much recently. And so it kind of makes sense that our bodies have fallen the wayside. But yeah, I noticed such a difference. And I'm like, everything we're doing, it's going to need more energy. And I also just love looking good. And so, yeah, I'm going to do everything I can to, in a very like healthy, balanced way, just feel better. And I just want you to know, like, you're more than welcome to join me for any of those things if you like.
Thank you, baby. That sounds great.
So that's how I'd go upon it. Yeah. You bring it back to the change you want to make within yourself, because that's really what it does come down to.
Yeah.
And if you just share what you're doing in a way that isn't like, well, I'm going to the gym today.
Right.
Oh, well, you're eating that?
Yeah. Or, hey, you want to go to the gym?
Yeah. No,
you're not being subtle, babe.
No everlasting weight loss or no everlasting anything has come from a place of shame and guilt. You can't shame and guilt someone into losing weight. Yeah. You can temporarily. Yeah, they'll go on Ozempic, they'll try those other things, and they'll get to where they are acceptable for you, but that'll only last so long. But if you bring it in a very healthy way and you make it about yourself and you offer them a hand to join you in that journey, that's a complete different conversation, a complete different transformation. An everlasting journey that will lead to stable, consistent health and prosperity for everyone involved. So if the roles were reversed in this situation for us, and you still look fantastic.
Oh.
But like
you, baby dude.
80 pounds,
yeah,
and that conversation is needed, then that's how I'd go upon it.
Yeah.
It's different. Let's bring up the club one you mentioned. So if there's behavior going on that really just doesn't make sense, especially something like the club where, the club's just a wild place. People are just trying to hook up and trying to get attention. That's really what it's about. Oftentimes they're not there to dance by themselves. They're there to feel themselves, even though that's what they'll say. That's oftentimes not the case. It's a place where a lot of the pleasures and desires of life are exuded to the maximum. And so if your girlfriend is going out or wife is going out clubbing multiple times a week or months, whatever it is, I can see how in yourself you'd be like, ugh, why is she doing that? Why is she going there? And so if you're feeling that within, I would make it clear to them in a very constructive, healthy way by having a really big heart to heart with them about over dinner or, as you go on a walk, whatever it is, and be like, hey, baby, I really want my next chapter of our relationship to be filled with more loving, connecting moments between us. And I want to make sure that I keep my evenings free, in particular, for us to just connect and do what we love, whether that's watching our show or going dancing or, whatever it is. I just want to make sure that you and I just prioritize each other. And to be honest with you, baby, I know this is something you deeply, deeply love. And by no means do I want to take it away from you. But I definitely ask myself sometimes when you go out to the club, like why do you want to go? What about it is really appealing to you? Just leave it at that. So if I were to ask that and you were a frequent club goer, hypothetically, what would you say to that?
It's just the one space a week where I get to just dance and hang out with my girls and just feel free. I just feel so free when I'm at the club, and I love that feeling, and I want some space for myself. It's something that's just mine.
I love that. And I don't ever want to take that away from you. What I would like to do is the same feeling that you get in the club. I want to create an environment in which you can feel that the other nights of the week also, even when you're around me and we're, doing laundry, whatever it is. And so that feeling of freedom that you feel, how can I best shift our lifestyle at this moment to exude that same feeling from you as we just go upon our day to day?
Yeah, I think there's a part of me that feels like we always have to be present with each other. And in some cases, it's I need my alone time, and I feel smothered. I feel like I'm no matter where I am in the house, you know where I am at all times, and I feel like I'm not free. So when I'm at the club, it's I just get to let my hair down. I get to say what I want, do what I want, just be myself. I get to exhale. I think when I'm at home, it feels like I have to be on my best behavior.
Yeah, no, I get that. I understand. Now that I think about it, I definitely do that. Even when I'm supposed to be working, I'm just checking up on you in the house. What are you doing? How, and I get it. And I can see how, in the past, I've said remarks that make you feel as if you need to, act a certain way or be a certain way. I really want to work on that. I really want you to feel as free and loved in all moments as possible, while also feeling like you have space. I know we live in a smaller apartment and we both work from home, but whether it's me, leaving, going to coffee shop for a while, or even when I'm home, this is probably the most important part, when I'm home, making you feel seen and loved, but also that you have your own space. And so I'll make sure that I do that to the utmost of my ability. That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think sometimes it's there are comments you'll make about me doing things that makes me feel like I can't do certain things around you. And so if we'll be, on the couch and I feel like I'm on my phone, and then I can kind of see you looking at me oh, she's on her phone again, then I start to judge myself because I know you're judging me. And then I feel like I have to not do what I want because you're going to judge me. And that makes me feel less free to just do what I want in all moments.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, I feel like I do judge you because honestly, I think I judge myself. I had hypothetically very distracted parents at all times. And even college boys and stuff, they're always just in a different state, not with me. And I feel as if I've judged them for that. And I can see if I'm still judging you for that. And so what I'm going to do going forward is audit myself and my energy around you to make sure that when I'm with you, it feels fully loving and fully free. The last thing I want you to feel is judgment that you need to be a certain way.
Thank you, baby.
And yeah, I just think that's just what's best for both of us. Like, I can't imagine like marrying someone you don't feel free around. That's not something I could ever want. So thank you for having this conversation with me. Like, it really means the world for me to just better understand like what you're looking for and how I could best help.
Thank you, baby.
Of course.
If it could feel like I can just let my hair down and be a little gremlin running around, I would be very happy.
I promise you, I'm going to do my absolute best. I probably won't be perfect because I'm unwiring like my entire life of conditioning I've been taught of how to be with your person or just around people in general. But I promise you, I make a commitment that I'm going to get better at that to make you feel more free and more loved in all moments.
Thank you, sweet.
Of course.
I love you, baby.
I love you.
That was great. That was awesome.
Scene there. But what's really happening there is everything we do, we're searching for a feeling, right? And so the clubs is I want freedom. I oftentimes want attention. I want a handful of different other.
I want to be myself.
All those other things.
I don't want to feel judged.
Yeah, I'm not saying like the goal is to make sure they never step foot in a club again, but the goal is to help them subconsciously understand that the same feeling they get in the club, they can also get within the home. Mm-hmm. They can also get by not going to a club and just going to restaurants, whatever.
Or going on a walk.
Yeah. And to replicate those feelings for that person so that whatever they were trying to escape from to get to, they can just have what they're trying to get to where they're at in all moments. And so that's how I'd go upon a conversation to, even if it's like, the fat one conversation, I keep on calling it the fat one. The gain weight conversation.
So out of pocket.
That's so out of pocket. The fat.
The elephant in the room was insane.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Lord, and my name's
hope you know
Elle too.
That was not towards you.
Yeah, that
was in general.
That was not you. The pocket. All right. Couldn't be further on this episode, and I'm loving it. So okay. Yeah, go back to the fat one.
What I'm trying to say is that in the fat one, there are oftentimes we're both,
Sorry, go ahead.
We both can improve in the one area, right? But the club one, they may be the only one going to the club, and you're not. You're staying home at night, so you can't be like, I'm gonna not go to the clubs now on and do this.
But it's how you're so the club one's really interesting because the person who's not going to the club thinks that they are doing nothing to contribute to the situation, and so they feel like they're the victim and that their partner is going to the club and ignoring them. When in reality, if they were to take a close look at their behavior that's making their partner need to go to the club is when we will actually start to get somewhere. But what we usually see happen is not like this beautiful, healthy conversation. Usually, give you some flex points on that one. What we usually see is an explosive fight that goes in circles and never resolves because both people don't understand what is at the core of the situation. If your partner, and we talked about this with the shower example, anything that someone is doing in excess is filling some kind of emotional hole for them. It is giving them something that makes them feel better and more comfortable about their reality. So if someone has a behavior that doesn't make logical sense, it makes emotional sense and probably kept them safe in a former self years ago. So what we have to remember is if someone is doing something to excess, if we say, all right, I've noticed a pattern, my partner is going to the club a lot, my partner is showering a lot, my partner is gaining weight, any of these sensitive topics, right, in examples. What can we do? Not enforce on the other person. What changes can we, as their loving partner who cares about them deeply, make to ourselves to play a part in solving this thing that makes us uncomfortable, right? So in the gaining weight one, Cam took it upon himself to say, you know what? I've gained some weight, which by the way, he has. Mm-hmm. We gained that happy weight together. Mm-hmm. And I think he looks sexier than ever. I don't want him to drop a pound.
Yeah.
I think he's looking fantastic.
I like how
he's looking like a man.
I feel.
Yeah, exactly. But sorry, I lost my train of thought. But back to the weight example. He took himself as an example here to say, I want more energy. I want to feel healthier. I want to look better. I want to start going to Orange Theory. I'm going to start cooking healthier meals. Would you like to join me on this journey? But he started with himself. Now, there's a reality where your partner says no, but it's very unlikely because you're probably speaking because you're speaking to yourself and not, hey, you need to lose weight or you're getting fat or any of these out-of-pocket statements that people make or like, oh, you sure you want to wear that? Or, oh, you're not going to hit the gym today? Oh, okay. Any of these statements draw the goal further away for your partner. The most connecting thing you can do is change your own contribution to the reality you're experiencing. So in the club situation, if this were me, where I would start is to say, okay, let me understand, just as Cam did, why does my partner love going to the club? Like, I want to understand it. What is this person getting? What are they feeling from this experience? Now, for a lot of women, I think it's that you feel more free. You feel sexy. You feel good. You feel desired. You feel like you can dance and do your thing and you can just have a night out with fun. And there's no strings attached to the fun. And you can go back to your relationship and you maybe make eyes at people, but then you go back and it doesn't mean anything. And it's all just good and fun. You feel free. I think for a lot of women, that's why going to the club is attractive. Now, those are all feelings that can be gotten in other environments, like Cam said. So understanding the core need that this experience in excess is filling for this person is your key to understanding what you can do to create those feelings for your partner more. And if you create the environment by, in the case of the club, not being judgmental about certain things they do at home. If they want to feel free, why do they feel unfree? That's an interesting conversation. That's the elephant in the room. That's the elephant in the room. Is there anything that I am doing that is making you feel judged? That is making you feel like you can't be your full self around me? That's going to open up a can of worms that after that point, you're going to get all the freedom in that relationship. If that person says, I feel like you judge me when I'm on my phone. I feel like you judge me when I'm on FaceTime with my friends. I feel like you judge me when I go into the pantry late at night and get chocolate. It's all going to come out. This is for the best. Because if you can understand what is causing someone to express their desire for certain emotions like freedom sideways, like I don't feel free, so I'm going to the club, you're actually going to start getting somewhere because you can understand how you are contributing to their desire to even want to do these things. So that is what I would really strongly recommend is ask yourself in any of these uncomfortable conversations or sensitive topics, what can I do to be an active contributor to the reality I want to live in with my partner? It's not about them. This may be what we're focused on right now, but it's about us. It's about what we are actively doing every single day to create an environment that's making this person gain the weight, that's making this person go to the club, that's making this person go to a job that they hate and not feel like they feel safe enough to leave it. How are we contributing as the person who spends the most time with them in this world? How do we contribute to this reality? And how can we make small changes to create a new one?
Period.
He's a period poo.
Period.
Are you serious?
That was great. I really like that. Yeah, I think it's fantastic advice. And it's just, I think keeping in mind that we're not here to tell people my way of living is the way, or we need to do this, or you need to do this. It's look within first and be like, what is the most loving way that I can speak this truth into existence? And yeah, I think those examples are the perfect way of going upon that.
I love it, baby.
I love it.
Before they have this kind of conversation, how should they self-regulate? Because I think that's really important. This is something we talked about in our episode on healthy communication. I think it's really, really important to not let this come out at a random moment where you're at your tipping point and you're going to throw something in there, or you're in a fight that's escalating because someone didn't take out the trash. And now you're going to bring up, well, you just gained weight. And, we don't want it coming out like that.
Yeah.
We want it to feel very grounded, very loving, very peaceful. So how do we get, as a last little remark here, into this state to deliver those emotions to our partner?
There's a very big difference between being controlled and being intentional. I want people to be intentional with this because these conversations we don't want to have after a 2-hour fight. because it's not going to be received properly. Even if you say it in a very loving way, they're not in the mindset to hear it the same way you are speaking it. They will hear it the exact way they feel in that moment. And so I would, just like I feel as you did for me for this walk, understood like he's in a neutral, good state. So I would make sure both parties are in a neutral, good state. And we look upon this conversation from the lens of how can we both utilize this conversation to love each other and to grow from this more than prior to the conversation. And if you keep that in mind, that we are here to love and here to grow in this conversation, the words will come out in a way that promotes that. And so, again, make sure yourself is in a good state of mind. There are plenty of ways to do that in meditation, the solitude, the walks, or whatever it is, connecting with loved ones. But the best thing to do is understand that if we're going to do this, we're going to do this on even playing grounds for both people. And doing it in a way with love in mind. If we keep that top of mind, it'll go exactly how it's supposed to.
And lastly, to add, center yourself in the situation. So instead of being about pointing fingers and you gain weight and you go to the club and you do this, talk from your own experience. Talk about yourself as an active contributor in the reality of your relationship. And if you always lead with yourself and your experiences, you cannot have a devolved conversation where it goes into blah, 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 now I'm attacking you. You will have a way better time if you approach it from your truest, most honest, most loving feelings from the heart.
Incredible. I loved it.
I love it too, baby.
I love it. And I love you all. Thank you so much for joining us today for an incredible episode of Listen Before Love. Recently, we've been on this kick of very intentional, tactical advice from our own personal stories and experiences to promote the highest growth and the most amount of love possible in all relationships in your life, in particular romantic. And I think this episode was a perfect example of how to have high quality conversations to increase the capacity of love you have for yourself and the world around you.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for being here with us. We love your feedback, your questions, your situations. Feel free to continue to share those with us, and we may even answer them live on the show. I would love to do a Q&A episode. I think that would be so freaking fun. But we love you so much. Thank you for being here on this wild ride with us. And just so you know, because Cam and I, due to the weight gain conversation, are back on our healthy bullshit, if you will, we are going to have a glow up. And we're already glowing. Let's not get that wrong. But we are going to glow and shine even brighter. So you will see over these episodes us get more and more snatched, more and more. This jawline go to be mewed to the gods. Do the mew face.
You know, mew face? Look in the camera.
I love the mew face. Look at it. Ooh, baby. We're going to do a side butt. It's looking.
I've never seen it before. I never did it.
Funny little thing. People come up to Cam in public and say, you look like handsome Squidward.
Do you look like handsome Squidward?
Yeah, you do. And honestly, even more handsome than handsome Squidward, which is really saying something. But anyway, long story short, check back in a couple months. We gonna be snatched to the gods,
and we're gonna do it in a balanced, healthy, loving way for ourselves in all moments.
Yeah. Goodbye, 75 heart. It's now 75 glow up.
75 glow up.
We glow. We love ourselves. We not doing anything out of pain or force. This is all power.
All power, all flow.
We're going to try to prove that if you love yourself so much and you love every pound on your body and you're grateful for every pound you gain, you will lose it faster because you have no attachment or shame or guilt about the weight. So that's what we're going to prove. Exactly. You see us start to glow, you let us know. Well, we already are, so. Yeah. But come back in a couple months and you'll see how it's going. All right, we love you.
We love y'all so much. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye, guys.